All right. Obviously, I thought we really got better yesterday. I look at those three guys and Jariah, Sam, and Anthony. Is what they all bring. Number one, they bring high character. But all three of those guys are great people. Number one, and I think they're talented. I think they give us something that we feel like we needed to get better at, and that's shooting. And I think we can go individually, but Jariah, in terms of what he was part of our team and very important part of our team that won the league 2 years ago. And he had a really good year at Colorado. I think he was their second leading scorer and leading rebounder. And on a team that went to the NCAA tournament, won a game. And so we know what he brings back to us. Anthony Pritchard, a local kid that is really, and I've known Anthony a long time. I think he was like a 7th or 8th grader when he first came to our camp or team camp, and I call him Baby Steph because he looked like Steph Curry, and he's really matured and had an outstanding career at Webster High School. And when you watch him, I mean, even this past season, he just grew and he's become so athletic and in terms of his burst and getting to the rim. But he can score. He scored a lot of points. But I think he's a true point guard. I think he has great vision and ability to make plays. I think he's going to have a terrific career here also. And then Sam. Sam is a young man that we played against at UT Arlington. And he had 13 points in our game, and I think he averaged 13 a game at the UT Arlington. But he's a terrific shooter off the bounce, which is something that kids, when you look at shooting, have that ability to really off the dribble be able to get up and get into his shot. That's a unique quality. He has that already in his game, but he's got good ball skills. I think he'll be able to play losing a guy like Elijah, was very intricate in that role for us over the last couple of years, but having him and Anthony both that I think are great ball handlers, point guard mentality, really helps our team. And with what we did in the fall, I think we have a really good class. We're still working, doing some other things and trying to finish this out. And, I was just on a call with NABC Congress, and we're talking about this transfer portal that is is crazy, and it's an adjustment in things in college basketball, and obviously that rule is going to be passed today, and in terms of the one-time transfer, but there's going to be some things in it that I don't know that kids in the portal are aware of, so but we're going to have to work through it. But there's 1,300 kids in that transfer portal, and a lot of high school kids struggle with it a little bit right now. I think that's where we're seeing effects. But didn't mean to get off on a tangent, but that's kind of where we're at in terms of we're still working in our recruiting. Okay? Questions?
Frank, maybe starting with Jariah, obviously that's an unusual situation. What does it say about your program that someone who left would want to come back? And also from your perspective, obviously there weren't any hard feelings when he decided to move on, for him to be able to come back.
I try to do it this way when guys, because of this, the way things are, times have changed over the years of transferring and in Jariah's case, he graduated from similar to Eli, graduated. So he's put in his time here. There were no hard feelings on my part with what Jariah wanted to do with his career. I supported him because he's a great kid. Obviously I have nothing but great things to say about Jariah on his exit, but it also tells you that, a young man liked our environment, our culture, and what we're all about here. And I think that says a lot of good things about our program. And for the young man wanting to come back and finish out his career here at Tulsa. And we love all our guys, but Jariah is a special kid, and I have a lot of great memories. He's a part of some really good wins during his time here. So I'm excited to be back with him and have an opportunity to coach him.
when he decided to leave Colorado? Did you feel like there was a good chance for him to come back, or did things have to play out the right way?
Well, there was some indication. I think, Dry still had friends within our program. So there's communication with his, Darren Jackson and him are really close. And there was communication about, him considering and wanting to. And obviously when he got his into the portal, he and I communicated and we talked through everything. And it was easy because there was a relationship already built. And if he was going to do this, I think that was important to him for having 1 year. He wanted somewhere to go where he really had a great feel for the environment.
On signing days, you probably think you know what you're getting with a lot of guys, but you don't always know for certain. How unusual is it? You know exactly what you're getting with him.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And I did talk about this too, I think yesterday, in terms of his, we all, I think everybody knows his ability, his talent level. But I also think that what he's going to give us in the locker room is as a leader. And I'm excited about that because we lost a good leader in Elijah. And but having a guy that I think, understands our culture with all the new guys we have, because I think this Tulsa is no different than a lot of programs across the country because of the transfer deal is you're going to be building your rosters in the springs. And having a guy like Dry coming back that understands what we're all about, the leadership he brings is critical.
You brought up the one-time transfer rule change. How do you feel about it? Do you think that's a good change?
Well, you either got to get on board or, you get left at the station a little bit. So it's tough. I think, the purist of coaching, which I am. I think I come up in that era where I started in this profession where, you recruit freshmen and you get a little bit of time, and then their sophomore year they play a little more. Then their frontline guys are their junior and senior year. That ain't happening right now. We're in a microwave society, and now it's becoming easier for those kids to, if they don't get what they want, they can leave. And so you got to kind of. Coach Williams said it best, Roy, when he, it is deal. I think it's tough for guys like that's been around a long time, and you've been in the business, but adjustment is part of it, and you got to get with it. There's going to be some things in this rule. I think it'll come out today that may make it a little bit difficult for some kids that I don't think they're aware of, the double transfer type thing. That there's going to be jump pumped onto the kids that are in that portal that don't really know this coming. So I'm not a big fan of that. So we're trying to figure how that's going to play out. You're muted.
Oh, is it still muted?
No, I can hear you now.
Okay. Delayed on my end. Apologize about that. Pritchard was obviously going to head off to Tennessee, but you were able to keep him in town. What does that mean for your program, getting a local guy that fans at the high school level have seen him play? And then how quick of an impact do you see him getting on the court, a possibility for his freshman season?
Oh, I think Anthony will play right. I see no way he's not going to play. Anthony is really talented, and he's got a chance to be special. I think he's tough. He works his tail off, and his story. I mean, his story touches your heart. It has to, and he's gonna be a favorite. I think this kid he'll have a career here. Even though he's a freshman, there's going to be a lot for him to learn. But when I talk to this kid, he's not afraid to work. He's just a true warrior in terms of his mindset already. He's got a competitive spirit about himself, but he yes sir you to death. So he's a sweetheart of a kid, and I'm so excited about coaching because I think he's going to bring a lot to this program because he's from this community, and I think that bodes well for our program.
Not on Anthony, but with Gavin coming down from Pittsburgh, Kansas. I mean, he's a regional player. I have a friend that covers him up in Pittsburgh, Kansas area, and said that he's a phenomenal player, and you're getting a
Yeah.
solid player. Give me a little bit about his background and what he's going to mean to the program.
Well, I love Gavin and all these guys. I think this is our and obviously we're getting to know all these guys, but I think we handled our recruiting a lot better than we did last spring with the pandemic in terms of getting to know these guys. You know, Gavin's a young man. I felt real good about, you know, first of all, his character, who he is as a man, as a young man, and he is terrific. But he he got hurt this year towards ACL, so he didn't play this season. But prior to that, in terms of his talent level, I mean, he's a 6'5" guy that can shoot it, can handle it. He's got a great body already. He doesn't look like a freshman normally looks. And he's coming along great with his, getting back to playing. And I think he's getting close. We don't want to rush him, but in time, he's going to have an impact with our program because he has, I think his talent level is really, really high.
Coach, going back to Anthony, you mentioned it. He works his tail off. He's a hard worker, especially when you have a freshman who comes in with the work ethic that he has, especially as a point guard too. I mean, how much does that add to a locker room, especially when you're building a locker room of guys that can be here for 3-4 years and are building chemistry early on? Yeah,
it's so great question. And I think is, when you're building your program, and obviously because of this transfer thing, a lot of guys, we want to get some good balance, and we've got some really good freshmen coming. And Anthony's presence in terms of his work ethic, it's contagious. And being a point guard, as you said, I told Anthony this several times when we were talking. I said, you and I, obviously, we got to talk a lot because he plays that position, and him knowing my heartbeat, me knowing his heartbeat is going to be critical. But he welcomes that, and that's what he's all about. And because when you talk about that locker room, you want that from a leadership standpoint. You want guys in the locker room speaking your language when you're not around. What's that communication like when you're not around? And he's a guy that I think we can build that kind of ability to be able to communicate well with his teammates when we're not around. You're muted.
Man, sorry, it's on a delay. Is this the best transfer product class that you've had come back or come together with Jariah coming back as well as the new pieces to the puzzle? I mean, do you feel this is the best class you've had?
We'll wait till we finish. We got to keep working right now. But it could be.
How much work do you think you have left? I mean, how many players and openings and how much do you have to figure out there?
We got to keep working. Nathan, we got to keep working, man. I'd like to sign at least one more and maybe two.
Coach, you mentioned Kelly was talking about how you're very familiar with Jariah, obviously. What's it like with Sam? I mean, do you remember that game early on in the season? I mean, is that something you kind of, when you see him in the portal and you're kind of talking about that, or you have to go back and look at film, obviously, but what did you remember from seeing him in person in that game when you played against him?
I remember a guy that from a scouting report, he was a Curry, which is how we categorize our closeouts. So a Curry means a guy that you have to run off the line. And we were very familiar with him based on going into the game. I think he played well against Arkansas, or I can't remember, but we knew he was someone we had to be, cognizant of in terms of how we defended him. And he had 13, and obviously watching his year, he's from Miami, so I know people in Miami that talk about his work ethic, and he's another guy that's going to live in the gym. And then obviously we watch his synergy clips throughout the year, and he fits. When Eli, this whole thing this year, knowing whether a kid was utilized is this year and come back or not, we didn't know our roster. And when Eli decided to transfer, then we got on Sam right away, and we felt real good about him being able to come in and be an impact because we wanted an older guy at that point in time. And obviously he's going to be able to do that. I think Sam has got a chance to be terrific because all these guys have the one characteristic I love. They're not afraid to work. And Jariah's the same way. Those guys will be in the gym all the time. And Sam's only going to continue to get better with his game.